How have Burmese pythons harmed the United States? Besides feral pigs, which are harmful to ecosystems and agriculture, do you know what other creatures are considered invasive species in the United States? That is the Burmese python, a giant predatory reptile that has caused many native creatures to decline in number and face the risk of extinction. So how harmful are Burmese pythons, and how do Americans deal with them? We invite you to explore with us how Burmese pythons have harmed the United States. Native to Southeast Asia, Burmese pythons were first brought to the United States as pets. When the exotic pet trade boomed in the 1980s, Miami became home to thousands of giant pythons. From farmed animals, Burmese pythons were released into the wild, and thanks to the suitable climate conditions, they grew and developed into a population of wild pythons. Python populations have begun to harm the ecosystem and environment in some states, typically in Florida. Starting in the 1990s, South Florida wetlands like the Everglades were devastated by one of the most damaging invasive species, the Burmese python. These giant snakes, which can grow up to 20 feet or more in length, with girths as big as electricity poles, have virtually exterminated small and medium-sized mammal population in the area, devastating the ecosystem area. They are an estimated 100,000 to 300,000 Burmese pythons in the Everglades. Although only present in South Florida for a short time, the Burmese python has devastated mammal populations in the Everglades, seriously threatening the biodiversity. According to multiple studies, raccoon, possum and bobcats populations in the Everglades have declined by 99.3%, 98.9% and 87.5% respectively. Meanwhile, swamp rabbits, cottontails and foxes no longer exist in the area. Burmese pythons are ambush predators with excellent camouflage abilities. They spend a lot of time hiding and then very quickly use the shortest amount of time to catch their prey by surprise. Therefore, Burmese pythons are considered an invasive species that is dangerous to humans and native creatures in Florida. As the harmful spread of pythons became apparent, state and federal governments began working towards in an effort to eradicate python populations. Many states in the United States have made it illegal to own farm pythons. In Florida, people deal with invasive pythons by exterminating them. The state government has issued a regulation that pythons must be humanely destroyed on site at the time of capture. Live pythons are not allowed to be transported. Local, state and federal agencies are in a constant battle with invasive species to prevent, control and eradicate them when possible. Every year the United States spends more than $120 billion to address problems caused by the invasive species. To combat the growing population of Burmese pythons, local agencies have created python hunting programs in which they pay native Floridians to capture Burmese python. To implement Burmese python control measures, the South Florida Water Management District pays qualified hunters $8 to $10 an hour to search for pythons on its vast lands, including much of the Everglades. Hunters are offered $50 for each python at least 4 feet long and $25 for each foot longer. They receive an additional $200 for each python nest whose eggs are removed. With these generous rewards, thousands of local people have hunted and captured pythons to control the number of Burmese pythons in Florida. Thus, wild pythons in some states, such as Florida, will be destroyed humanely on the spot without the hunter needing a hunting license. After catching a python, hunters are not allowed to transport live pythons. They will destroy it with guns. Many people may feel that the method is cruel, but the large number of Burmese pythons not only affects other creatures but also affects human life. Therefore, it is necessary to control the population of Burmese pythons as well as conserve native creatures. Some animals can be captured alive for scientists' research. To effectively catch live pythons, people can design their own traps to cage traps containing prey such as chickens, birds, or some other prey. When pythons sense their prey, they are easily trapped. Do you know how pythons are handled after being hunted? Usually, pythons will be destroyed in large numbers, but the skin and meat of this reptile have very economic value. So python skin is often used to make fashion items such as handbags, shoes or wallets, while python meat is processed into food for jewelry, stones, other livestock farms. Although the fight against invasive Burmese pythons in Florida continues, their numbers are more controlled than they have been in decades. Today's video ends here. Hope we have brought you an interesting topic. How do you feel today? Please comment a lot below to let us know. Don't forget, click like, share and subscribe to support the channel. For now, goodbye and see you again in the next videos.